I started getting bullied in school at the age of 13 or 14, and then I took my first overdose. So that led to me going into King's Hospital for a week and a bit, and then I saw more mental health professionals. They didn't think it was an issue, so I got discharged. And then during that time and afterwards, I carried on running away from home because I didn't want to talk to anyone about how I was feeling. And then I ended up getting, 136 by a police officer. First time I'd been handcuffed, first time I'd been pinned to the floor. And then they had to explain that they were detaining me for my safety. And then they told me that I was going to a unit, and I didn't know what that was either. And then I was just like, well, they were like, you're going to a mental health unit. I met Sally while she was doing a BBC Radio 4 documentary about mental health, and then we started talking and I told her about wanting to make this film, and we realised we could work together.
Tiffany's had a really tough time, and there have been a number of things that happened in her early life which I think are quite difficult for most people to get their heads around. But not just one thing, there's been a kind of series of things. So she was taken into care when she was younger. She was adopted, the adoption failed, and she'd been adopted away from her siblings. She was returned to care, she was assaulted in care. There was then a second adoption. By her early teens, Tiffany was struggling with mental health problems, and really quite serious mental health problems.
I wanted to make this film because, well, people don't understand what it's like to be an inpatient. I called it Mind the Gap 17 to 25 because, well, it's an age gap that people struggle to deal with in the mental health system. The transition between adolescence and adult mental health services. I want people to know that the transition is really difficult. There's so many more ways which you can make it easier for young people. I guess when I was transitioned, I felt abandoned. It literally felt like I'd been shoved onto another island where I knew no one. It felt like I couldn't connect with anyone because there was just such a gap.
I was wondering, coming back to this war, perhaps a few years back now, how does it feel like revisiting this environment?
What would a regular day look like for you?
The main structure was to go to school. This specific unit, they would adapt to the way you were working with them and how you were feeling. So for me, I was a runner.
What does that mean?
I like to run away from places quite a bit.
So did you try and run away from here?
Quite a few times, yeah.
What is it that happens here that's different?
They wouldn't look at you as what the diagnosis you had was. They'd look at you as the individual person and what you like doing, instead of looking at, oh, you've got this diagnosis, so this works for most people, which means it's going to work for you. Or they wouldn't just shove you on meds to calm you down. They'd work with you and work with what meds you wanted. It didn't feel like a fight in here against doctors and nurses.
Tell me a little bit about the transition from CAMS to adult services.
So I had a very messy transition actually. So it was thought about for a year and a half before I was 18, and then I ended up getting sent to an adult unit 5 days before my 18th birthday. So you have a staff member watching you all the time, including when you go to the bathroom. So pleasant. Because of either your safety or someone else's safety. And it was mainly because I was not an adult in numbers yet.
So until you were 18, you were deemed to be at risk from the others, but on your 18th birthday you no longer were, magically.
Yeah.
You were able to look
because I was
after
18.
yourself.
The magic of being 18. Happy birthday to me.
What was it like?
Awful. It was like a smack in the face. A very big smack in the face.
In what way?
So everyone was older than me, like 35 plus. It felt like people were there for more serious disorders, like they weren't really with it all the time. No school, no education. The only structure was to wake up for your meds, take your meds, and then do whatever you want. On one of my nights when I was 17, a staff member got beaten up in front of me by another patient. Like, it wasn't safe at all. It was crazy. I didn't know any patients, I didn't know any staff, I didn't know any therapists, didn't receive therapy.
What about, you said that for you there had been sort of planning for 18 months before you went. How planned did it feel?
Not at all. It was all last minute. Even though there was 18 months worth of planning, like, I didn't know anything that was going on until about 2 days before I left. And when I got there, they didn't even realise I was coming. I was trying to run off more, I was trying to escape. I thought if I ran away, then I wouldn't have to put up with it. I wouldn't know what was going on. They wouldn't be able to send me anywhere because I wasn't there to be sent anywhere. So I just left.
There's a sort of almost a re-traumatising, isn't there?
It doesn't help, it just embeds everything that's going on for you.
And it sounds like a kind of the system driving you to crisis before it could respond.
Yeah.
Was that
There was bits where they could have just stopped and thought about things, but they were just more concerned about the deadline of my birthday. Things today are a lot better. I've met Oscar, who's made, well, a phenomenal difference to my life in a way. Now you're in a relationship, you've got to think about the other person as well. And like, he really does that with me, but now I'm starting to do that more with him, and it's really nice.
when you work on a project like this and you hear from someone like Tiffany the good that she experienced when she was in Snowsfields, and then the not good that she experienced when she was moved to adult services. I don't know what the solution is, but I know it's not right as it is right now. I would like to think that this film could start a discussion and could maybe start getting people to understand that it might be time for a change.
What I'd like to say to people watching this film is it would really help if they planned it better instead of leaving it for 1 or 2 weeks before my birthday. I think they should cut down forms. I feel people just assume they know everything because they've heard of that diagnosis or that name of whatever it's called, and then everyone who has that fits in it because of that way. And I think things need to be more adaptable. Mental health isn't predictable, so people's attitudes to it shouldn't be either.